FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.
Welcome, and you are listening to the Financial Survival Network. I'm Kerry Lutz. It's November 1st, 2017. Well, hey, end of October, no crashes in September or October. I guess that's a good thing. And by the way, our RSS feed is back up and running, so you can download the show from iTunes. If you don't do it already, just go over to iTunes. If you have the program, just put in the search box, Kerry Lutz. It'll pop up and click subscribe, and you get the show automatically every time we post an episode. Hey, and as always, email us, kl@kerrylutz.com, and the Twitter feed's @KerryLutz. So the market just keeps rolling along like Old Man River. I guess it's always going to go up, and volatility is dead. But just in case it isn't, and there might be some traps out there, got Adam Mesh with me, CEO and founder of Adam Mesh Trading. You've seen him all over the place, even on the Ellen DeGeneres show, if you could believe it. Regis and Kelly, Jay Leno, Squawk Box, Fox Business. Well, I could go on all day, Adam, but welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, and I got to say that that was one of my favorite intros ever. Volatility is dead, but just in case it isn't. I like that, and it's true. So
yeah, well, the VIX was trading for most of last month under 10. I mean, an all-time low since that index was concocted in 1990. And what does that mean? Does that mean that we're headed for a fall, or does that mean complacency has just become universal and you could buy any stock and just hold it and it's going to go up? Or are we being given a head fake here?
I think the biggest difference we see in this market versus anything else we've ever seen is there are so many computers trading that emotion is no longer a part of trading. It's literally about just risk and reward. There are no more bulls and bears, just risk, reward, and it's not humans. You're competing against servers, which is why you see the stability we have in the market. So coming off the longest and strongest bull run we've ever seen, it's hard to look for that big move down. I do think there will be retracements and there will be orderly selling, but I mean, right now the machines rule.
Well, right now the machines are set. If you look at it, there's a switch there, or a dial. On the left is buy, on the right is sell. So the machines are all set to buy. What happens if they flip the switch and it's time to buy, because time to sell, because everybody who's out there who's going to buy bought?
That's a question that I think people should keep in the back of their minds when they're looking to just put on trades and walk away, because it is a good question. If those machines get set to sell and there's no more people buying up the stock, because a lot of these stocks were owed by the companies buying their shares back. We've seen a lot of stock buybacks too. So you're right. When there's nobody left to buy them and they get turned to sell, you could see a catastrophic event at that point. But again, very hard to imagine right now, given what we're seeing
right now. And we got so many geopolitical risks in the world, Adam. I know we weren't really discussing this, but you got North Korea, you got Iran, you got Venezuela, you got China. Looks like it's switching into the expansion mode. You got Russia that wants nothing better than to see the U.S. fall. And yet the market apparently is oblivious to all of these geopolitical risk factors.
I mean, and we left out one big one, which is the former campaign manager for the current president is being accused of essentially crimes against the government. Now, I know it was back in the day, but there's other people. If that was any other president in the history of our world, that would have sent the market down a lot. And now it's just another day. But as the arrests come, that gave me cause for concern. How are we going to get tax cuts if the entire presidential team is under investigation? It seems like they'll be dealing with other things.
They haven't missed a beat, though. They don't outwardly seem very excited about it. And you had Hillary Clinton's campaign manager and his brother, their firm, being knee-deep in this Russia stuff. The ones that originated the whole Trump-Russia collusion meme, they seem to be getting ready for the handcuffs to get slapped on them. So it looks like it's the uniparty. It looks like it's it's the swamp that's getting hit here.
Right. And I don't focus on politics. I pay attention to politics, but
Sure.
that's certainly not how I make my money. So all I look at is how can it affect the markets.
Right.
And we've seen a lot of things factored in. Like the market has traded up in anticipation of tax cuts. The market's traded up in anticipation of another Fed rate hike. These are all things that are factored into the market right now. So were those things to change, we could see movement. So it's just, I look at factors as
right.
Where's the risk, where's the reward? But you know what? Even in those cases, we could go back and you could look at two of the biggest surprises we've seen in the last, 25 years. One was Brexit. The vote went the wrong way. They thought it would shock the markets. It did temporarily, but it rebounded and went higher within weeks. And then the presidential election. The math all had Trump losing. It was supposed to be a bad thing if he won. Futures traded down big overnight, and then you got a complete reversal there. So, I mean, it's been the kind of market along the theory of Brexit and Trump. I could see a scenario where they say, you know what, we're not reforming tax, and people are like, oh, okay, trade the markets higher. Because that's what they do in reaction to anything else that's supposed to bring us down. But no, I'm saying this, and I'm a little frustrated because I have a bear side bias. I have trouble buying things up as high as they are. So I am looking for bearish opportunities, and I've been having success targeting weak stocks, specifically though individually weak stocks.
Yeah, like Tesla's kind of been taking a hit recently, and that's been the darling of the market for a couple of years. And it was at, mid 300s, upper 300s, and now it's down to low 300s. But yeah, I see your point. Actually, I was one of the few that did predict that Trump was going to win. I've got a record of 2 years of it, but that's neither here nor there. Uncertainty is always part of it. But look, when we look at rates this low, Adam, what are your alternatives? Basically, real estate and the stock market, and not a whole heck of a lot else. I wouldn't be buying and selling insurance policies or insurers who have to raise their rates because they can't get any investment return. I mean, it's really a limited alternative of markets. Yeah, and you could be buying Bitcoin too, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I'm not saying to buy Bitcoin, but that's what happens when you have a lack of alternatives. You get the 1600s version of Tulip Mania. But, one of the stats I heard, and I got to check this because it sounded crazy, but maybe we could find out if this makes sense. A factoid I heard today was that Facebook is now worth more than all of the companies that Warren Buffett owns combined.
That's entirely believable.
And that has to give you pause for where you're going to buy these things, and when can they be profitable on the investment? How much can they continue to grow? Amazon, Facebook. I mean, they are the best companies in tech's leading the way, but I feel like I'm chasing.
All right.
So
here's our market caps. I just happen to have that information at my fingertips. Apple has a market cap of $856 billion. Google, $715 billion, Facebook, $524 billion. So that probably is worth more than everything that Buffett owns, combined. I wouldn't doubt it. And for what, I'm not sure. I mean, it is an invaluable tool in many respects, but what gives it the right to expect that type of market cap when it's getting to the point where it's going to be a mature company? And, in another year or two, Facebook will be paying out a dividend here, Adam. That's how mature it's going to get.
Yeah, and it's just, again, there are a lack of alternatives. I mean, if you look at some of the things like when Amazon had earnings, I was looking at some of the options plays on Amazon. And, I mean, if you were risky, if you were like, this could be it, you would have had to go 30 points out of the money. And you could have bought like a 1005 call for around $10. Mm-hmm. So 10 contracts, you would have risked 10 grand saying I needed to go up at least 30, 40 points to break even, but you would have made $100,000 on that risk overnight on a $10,000 risk, which is crazy. So I was at a birthday party the next day for my nephew, and I was talking to my dad about how I lost on an Amazon Iron Condor because it went up past the point I needed to stop at. If it went up less than 30 points, that would have been great. I would have been profitable less than 40 points. But because it went up 100, I was risking 200 to make 1,700. I lost $200. And this guy said, like, oh, you're talking about iron condors? And all of a sudden the whole party, instead of talking about the World Series or football, was talking about iron condors. That's how you know that you might be in a little bit of an overbought market, right?
Hey, you know what Benjamin Graham said? When the boot black, the boot black, they call that's a shoeshine guy, or the elevator operator, which we don't really have elevator operators anymore except on Park Avenue and very exclusive co-ops. When they're giving you stock tips, it's time to sell. So maybe this is the equivalent. When the party, it's like that old thing when E.F. Hutton speaks, everyone listens, and he starts talking and the whole room goes hush. Maybe that's where we're kind of at here.
It's becoming, I guess what would be the modern day equivalent of the shoeshine guy? It would be the some kind of tech operator, the Amazon delivery guy, right?
Yeah, it would be your voicemail operator or something. I don't know. Like
the guy shows up with 3 packages. He's like, "Hey, you see our stock?"
Hey, and I don't know if you read about this. Amazon, by the way, just for further reflection, has a market cap just under Facebook at $528 billion, which is pretty good for a company that really makes very little money. They seem to make a lot more shares, and now owns Holier Than Thou Foods. So you got to give them some credit, I guess. But it's a crazy world out there, and like we said, limited alternatives. And what is a poor investor to do? What's Joe Sixpack supposed to do if he's got 10 grand here, Adam?
Well, it's funny because Amazon makes little money and less products. Now, maybe because they own Whole Foods, you could say they're producing, but literally they're just they resell products, which is a great thing. I mean, the greatest companies in the world right now own nothing.
Yeah, Airbnb.
Facebook owns nothing. Yeah. Amazon, now they're buying stuff up, but they own nothing. Google owns nothing. Uber, which is a super popular company, they don't even own the cars.
No.
And that's the key to success. They all own nothing and they make a fortune. So
and Airbnb. Airbnb.
I mean,
no hotel rooms.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the other one. Exactly. $10,000. I mean, listen, Bitcoin, a couple of years ago, you put 10,000 in Bitcoin. That would have been the way to do it. I think we're late. I studied up on history. Tulip mania in the 1600s. People were trading their houses for tulips.
Yeah.
And eventually they realized they were worth nothing. Now Bitcoin does have the blockchain. But, I'm not putting it into Bitcoin. It's not enough for real estate probably. So would I put it into the market here? Reluctantly. When I first started trading, my first thing, I put my entire 401k into AOL, and it went up by tenfold.
Yeah.
And then I gave it all back. So, what I teach and what I focus on is the individual stocks, looking for things that can still be the next Amazon or the next NVIDIA. Like a great story stock this year was Shop. That was one that really would have paid you well if you were involved this year. And then I also look at what's weak for downside opportunities, things that aren't cooperating with the market. Of note lately, the two that I do have bearish positions in, so full disclosure, are IBM and Starbucks. Things that are having problems, and you look at Under Armour now, what they did, there are weak companies out there too. So sometimes the easier thing to spot is what's not cooperating with the market. But if I had $10,000, I do have $10,000. But what I'm trading right now is individual opportunities. Yesterday, I did an option trade where my total risk was 70 cents to put a bearish play on Under Armour, and the 70-cent options were worth $1.50 today. So that's over 100% on your money trading options. That's why I put a lot of my time into options. You get a really good return, individual place.
And you can limit your risk extremely effectively with options, right?
Define risk, because most people, and I'm sure your audience is very similar to mine, they want to move forward, but they don't want to take a big step back. No one wants to, if they have that 10 grand, they don't want to lose that 10 grand. So how do you risk 1/10 of that with the opportunity to make 5x? And options provides a good opportunity in that way. That's why it's very appealing, I assume, to both of our demographics.
Oh, for sure. And I got a prospective joint venture for you dealing with cryptocurrencies. I want to create this thing called Tulip Coin, and it's going to be backed by tulip bulbs held in a vault in Holland, in the Netherlands. And our slogan on the coin is going to be "Make Holland Great Again." What do you think? Can we sell this?
I would get involved, especially as a founder, because then you get the shares for free and get a couple of good articles, and you're there. I mean,
and it will. What better way to illustrate the stupidity of a lot of these people buying these ICOs they're worse than worthless. They're kleptocurrencies, is what I call them. Run by kleptos for the unsuspecting and unwary.
The majority of people are going to lose all their money investing in these things. That's just a fact, because you won't have 20 different currencies out there. But there are the stories that get everyone involved, which is like, my physical therapist's brother-in-law got involved with Ethereum really cheap and made $100 million or something like that.
Yeah.
And he's not selling.
Well, why would you sell? Why would you sell when you made $100 million, Adam, right?
In something that could be worthless overnight. I said I would have never, I don't feel bad about that story, because I would have never made $100 million, because there's no way I would have ever held it that long. I said I would have been out after the first million. So no matter what happened, I wasn't making $100 million of cryptocurrencies. I would have never been able to hold it like that.
I'd sell, my only way I can make money is when a stock doubles or whatever, I sell half and I hold on to the rest as a free ride, because my timing sucks. I can't make money the way other people do at this, because, you talk about the machines having no emotions. I haven't been able to program the emotions out of my mind yet to be able to be effective in this stuff. I just can't do it. So interesting times we have. Hey, I know that you're going to want to check out Adam's show, Adam's work. Where do we find you, Adam?
Best place is simply adammesh.com. Thanks for asking. People could put in their email there and start receiving my daily newsletter for free. And
cool.
Just try to keep it real. I don't promise people millions of dollars. I try to create real experiences, and I think that's important out there, because there's a lot of stuff out there that's I know the next Bitcoin. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. A
lot of air out there, a lot of hot air, and it's AdamMesh.com. And of course, we'll have a link to your site, Adam, in the show notes to this interview on financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Make sure you sign up for our newsletter as well. And the Twitter feed again is @CarrieLutz. The Facebook page is Financial Survival Network. Adam, it's been a lot of fun. We'll talk to you again real soon. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much, Gary. This was a lot of fun. I'll talk to you later.
FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.